Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 29th, 2025 public hearing regarding the tentative millage rates and tentative budget. I want to officially call this meeting to order. I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Spray for our vision and invocation.
Good evening. The school district in Manatee County will be an exemplary, student-focused school system that develops lifelong learners to be globally competitive. I'd like to invite my pastor, Sam Rainier from West Bradenton Baptist Church, to do the invocation. If you please rise.
And we'll do the pledge right after as well.
Thank you for the opportunity to pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this evening, and I ask that you grant your wisdom to each of these board members. Lord, there are many children represented in this community, and though I know this is a big ask, I pray that each and every child thrives in every school represented here, that families are safe, secure, healthy, and good. And Lord, I ask for your blessings upon tonight's meeting, and it's in your Son's name, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, for those, before we get to the meeting part, I do want to get approval of the agenda for tonight. There was no agenda amendments, so we can go ahead and vote on the approval of the agenda.
There we go.
Oh, I just hit a motion.
Somebody move,
We
okay.
got a motion, and
I
a second?
did.
I'll second.
Perfect.
I think I'm on the right meeting.
Somebody motioned.
Yeah, I
Somebody
did.
motioned. Yeah, I think I'm on the right meeting.
Am I on the right meeting?
5:30?
5:30 PM, yeah.
Mhm. That's the one I did the motion on.
Yep.
I'll do it again. Is it there?
I see a motion. I don't see a second.
Got it.
Try it now. There you go.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I had to go.
So we're good. But I don't see like a box to vote yet. There it is. It's working. It's had a long day.
Where
Granicus
now?
has, and that agenda is approved 5-0. Okay, so for anybody who's never been on this meeting with the tentative millage and tentative budget, there's going to be some gaveling, there's going to be some presentations, there's going to be some recommendations. It's not like a normal meeting, so just you are now forewarned. So I am going to close this meeting and open up the public meeting. To your public comments regarding the 2025-2026 final millage rates and final budget, and answer questions related thereto. So I do have some public comment this evening that have signed up for the meeting. Paulina Perez and Jack Lawrence. Come on up. Paulina's first, and then Jack. And what's that?
I'm wondering if they're here for the 5:45 public comment? Not the.
They signed up for this one. I do not know.
Oh,
Is it you? Did you sign up for this one or the next one? The one about the budget?
The general public comment.
Okay, so it's the next
So that's
meeting.
the next one. That's the 5:45. We'll let you
Okay.
go to that until 5:45.
All right.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Anybody in the public that wants to speak can, because this is a public hearing. So, seeing no one jumping up excitedly running to the podium, I'm gonna keep it open. We'll go to Ms. Sellers for the presentation.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. With me today, I also have Joe Rinaldi, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, and Gina Maliniak, our Budget Director. Okay, the purpose of today's public hearing, this is to adopt the tentative millage tax rates for the school year 2025-26. Bless you in advance. And then to secondly adopt, to adopt the tentative budget for the fiscal year as well. Now, after the tax collector after the tax collector notifies the taxpayers of the tax rate in the county at the September 9 board meeting, that's where the board will adopt the final millage and budget for fiscal year 2025 to 26. And on July 19, the DOE did certify the adjusted RLE, which I'll be discussing further in the presentation. So there are several notification requirements required by state statute that drives this presentation and this public hearing today. It's all related to the truth in millage or trim. It's the advertisement and the exact wording, size, and format of that ad. Then there's also requirements related to the hearing for the millage rate and the budget to be transparent to the taxpayers. And the advertisement for this district, it did run on Friday, July 25, in the Sarasota Herald. Now, also, the tentative budget hearing, which the tentative budget book was passed out last week when we had the meeting related to the advertisement. After tonight, the information goes to the property appraiser and the tax collector, and the tax collector prepares the proposed notice of the proposed millages and sends that out to the taxpayers. And the final budget hearing is scheduled for September 9. The millage rate is voted on separately and first, and then the final budget is adopted. All right, so this is a display of the millage rate trends going back to 2018-19 school year. Now, a mill is $1 for every 1,000 in taxable value, and if we were levying, for example, a $100,000 home, the tax would be $100. So now the hearing today for the total millage is 6.304. The RLE on the 19th actually was adjusted from the 3.032 to 3.037. But then there was also a prior period adjustment of 0.019, which brings the adjusted RLE to 3.056. Now, it had been declining year after year, but per DOE, this prior period adjustment is an extra levy due to the shortfall that was received by the district in the prior year. There'll be a slide that we discuss later on where we budget, where we display and show the budget at 96% of the collections, and there's a column that has, the 100%. This past fiscal year, we actually were closer to receiving just 94% instead of the 96. So hence, this is where you're seeing this prior period adjustment that the state
Chad, if I may.
levied.
Ms. Ellis, just for interested community member, could you
The required local effort.
thank you.
Yes.
Could you define,
RFP.
is the word I was looking for?
So, yes, okay.
And then what does that required
so-
local effort, what does that unlock?
Yeah, so if the district doesn't levy the required local effort, the district cannot participate in the Florida Education Finance Program, the FEFP, where we get the FEFP funds. So the legislature releases their first calc at the end of their session, and the dollars per the student assumes that the district will be levying that millage rate. So, and in regards to the discretionary millage, and that's the .748 mil, if that is not levied, the district students would be at a disadvantage because the district would still be required to pay the charter schools their share, even if the district chose not to levy that particular millage. Let's see. Did anybody have a question on this page?
I don't see anybody put
Okay.
up.
All righty. Okay, so this is the slide where I was talking about. We show a comparison of what that 100% is of the raised taxes and the 96%, which is what we base our budget on. Now, the rollback rate, we're required to talk about this, is higher this year than the proposed millage rate. This is the first time in quite a while that this has happened at this district. This means that we advertise for a budget hearing this year rather than a notice of tax increase. So that's a lot to sit there and digest for a second. So,
If I can,
Yeah, go ahead.
for public, again, when we're talking about the to be raised 96%, 100%, that is what people actually pay, who pay their taxes, pay their tax bills.
correct, right.
Right, if we collected 100% of everybody that paid their tax bills on time, this was what that 100% number is.
Would have looked, yes,
Right, I just want to point that out for the public.
right.
Thank you.
Still learning all of this, so I want, and I believe I understand correctly, but I would like to confirm.
Yes,
When it comes to the rates and everything, we don't set that. That is what comes from the tax collector to the public. We don't weigh in on how much that's going to be, so it's not like we're telling the public, oh, we're going to start charging you more or less, right? That comes from the tax collector?
No, it comes from state.
Because I'm a little,
it's actually the state.
it's from the state.
Right.
It's from the state, okay. See, that, this is why I'm asking, because I'm still learning. So then the state tells the tax collector, am I following
Tells
this
us.
correctly? Tells us?
Tells us, and then
We
we
tell them.
get you guys to approve the millage rate, and then we notify the tax
Okay, but the rate comes from
from the state.
Okay.
State
Thank
to us, to tax collector to county.
State, yeah, state,
Is that right? Did I do that right?
yes, yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
State, district, then county, to the county.
Real
Yeah.
quick, Mr. So, Ms. Sellers or whoever, so can we talk about the 96% versus the 100% again? Because I heard what Ms. Spray said, but I'm not sure I understood. My understanding of what that actually meant was that, for instance, when you get your tax bill, it'll say if you pay by the 15th of November, like you get it on the 1st of November. If you pay by the 15th, you only have to pay like 96% of what your total would be. But if you wait until March to pay it when it's due, then you're going to owe 100%. And it appears that the tax collector would like to get your money quicker because they can take it and put it in the bank and start earning interest on it or something maybe. So what that means is that the amount of money that we're getting is only based on collecting 96% of
That
that
value.
revenue. It's not based
Correct.
on 100% of the revenue. It's based on us only collecting 96% of what the total tax collection would be if everybody waited till the due date to pay their taxes.
Right, and if everybody did pay that
If
as
everybody
well,
did pay
too.
that.
Because that 96% is projecting maybe people who do
Okay.
take advantage of the discount, or also it averages in considering if people don't pay their taxes.
Don't pay their taxes. Okay, great. Thank you very much for clarifying that, and for the public maybe too. Thank you.
Okay, so this slide demonstrates the rollback rate by the millage versus the 25-26 proposed rates. So the rollback rate, that looks at or attempts to explain a change in taxes if the assessed values had not changed. So using this year's gross property taxable value, what would the millage rate need to be to generate the same amount of property tax revenue for the district? So, so the total millage rate that's levied is actually below the rollback rate, and that difference is 1.16%. As I keep talking about the rollback, I then go to, so this slide actually, let's see, wait, hold on. So, this slide actually breaks out each of the proposed rates in total, because the other particular forms had it in total. Now you can see each of those items broken out by the required local effort, which is the RLE, the discretionary local effort. Then you had your voted local referendum, and then you had the capital outlay, and this is the local capital improvement, and that's the 1.5 mil.
Can I ask a question there real quick, please?
Mhm.
So in a previous conversation that we had, is it true that the overall appraised property value in the county actually went down over the last year? You said maybe it was down like $1 billion or something?
Right, the value that we were using in June when we first brought the June, at the June June 23rd workshop, used the June estimated value, and on July 1st, that property value dropped by $1 billion.
Okay. So even though are we getting, maybe it'll be later, I'm just curious if we're actually getting, did the minus 1.16 mean that we're actually getting a little less money this year overall in the sense of?
Actually, that change, not looking at the rollback, but that change that happened on July 19th actually increased our revenue by 1.8 million expected from the tax revenue.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Okay, so this slide, looking at, demonstrates the effect of the rollback rate. So when you're looking at your column B from last year at 2024 to this year in column C, 2025, the taxable value you see is the same. That's row 1. Although the millage and the annual taxes you see are increasing. You see that millage rate that went from 6.299 to the 6.304. And you see the slight increase also of the annual taxes to an individual. And now this particular slide demonstrates the effect with the property values now changing. In the last slide, the property values did not. This change in the taxable value, now this is obviously, it's on average, shows that increase from, or at least by 1.3% increase. Let's see, the millage rate is going from the 6.299 up to an increase of that 6.304. Representing that increase. It shows that a taxpayer on average would see an increase of like $26.60 a year. So I think we've been educated on the rollback rate and those effects a little bit. So hopefully each one of those slides gave a little bit of description as to what that rollback and the changes between last year and this year millages rates are. The next 3 slides, this is the state form that we submit to the Florida Department of Education. And so, and you can see where the property value is $80.45 billion. This resolution, or this form actually splits. You have to define each of the millage rates separately. It's to inform both the board and the community. On this particular slide, you can see that the required millage is 3.056. You've got the discretionary, which is the 0.748. You've got your voted mill, that's the 1.0 mill. And then you also have the capital improvement tax of the 1.5 mil. This is the one that's used for the capital fund. Oops, oh, it hit down sideways. Okay, so in summary, while you do have the budgeted books and the budget book is posted online, this is just reflective of the tentative budget. In 4 weeks, we will be bringing you the final budget. There have been adjustments that we will be presenting to you in 4 weeks. That is the difference between the tentative and the final. The next slide I'm going to show you is actually going to be a comparison of the changes that occurred since our June 23rd June meeting. to today, because there seemed to be a lot of changes going on, between both. And now this tentative budget, this does show, just like it did last year a little bit, capital fund is slightly a little bit larger than the general. It is 44%, the capital is 44% of the overall budget, while the general is 43.4%. And then we have our internal services fund, which is the health and the workers' comp. That makes up 4.6%, and so on for the rest of the other funds. And to keep in mind as well too, oops, I'll switch to the page, that while you have been given the budget book, I did want to take a moment to point out that on page 34 in the budget book, that's where we have the, wait a minute, not 34, yes, 34. This is where we have the internal service fund. You will notice that the revenues are less than the expenditures. That is because the health insurance, based on our discussions with Aon, is recommending a premium increase. Our health insurance committee has not made a recommendation yet to go towards negotiations. So while we are using the expenditures from Aon to build the expenses for that particular fund, the revenue is not posting their recommended premium increase at this time. We hope to be able to have some type of discussion between now and then with the Health Insurance Committee, so when we start to go to negotiations, to hopefully have that in the final budget, but we'll have to wait for all the steps to occur before we can reflect that.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Are you talking about page 37? or
Is it 37? I was wondering.
37?
Yeah, I think you're
Is
correct.
internal service, yeah, health
Yeah.
insurance is 37.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm
Yes, you're right,
following you
37.
right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so yeah. Right, revenues are lower than expenditures, so yeah, that's gonna have to be a conversation there for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Tatum. So,
Oh, yes.
So I would like to make sure that I understand slide 16 here, and especially the expenditures column. So, but that number at 1,497,000,000 doesn't look like what the total budget is actually going to be, right? It's more, because I remember I'm looking at the budget book, and it's like another $100 million.
Right, so I also wanted to point out some of the items that are represented in your budget book. For the capital fund, we made a presentation. In this particular presentation, we have it reflected, but not in what you have in your book, because we took into account some changes from where we had assumed that we were going to have a certificates of participation of 170 million. There's other changes, but it's reflecting like 155 million. So there's a little bit of inconsistencies with the book and what I'm presenting here today. But by the time I bring you the final, you will have, everything will match. Your final budget book will match. We just wanted to be able to present what y'all discussed today to reflect what we thought was going to be getting accepted, that kind of a thing to put in place. So there's a discrepancy between the book and this presentation right here.
And this is for the 2025-2026 school year, right?
Correct.
So a thought that I just had is a question, and that question is, how is it that we approve this budget? Because our fiscal year starts on 1 July, right?
Correct.
So but we really don't approve this budget until the middle of September or something like that, is that
By
correct?
the final beyond September 9, that we bring it in. But it's not like, even though we have those dates set by the state to have particular budgets by certain deadlines, the pace at which the state released their conference report, the amount of budget requirements and deadlines where you don't have your certified taxable value until July 19, that kind of a thing does make this a little period of time between July 1st and when the final budget is done, a little bit of a tentative target.
Right.
And it's not like we can stop operations just
Right.
because we didn't have the budget in. So it's a standard practice across the state to continue without stopping, because we couldn't bring you a final budget before July 1st got started.
I wonder why we don't then, because like the federal government's fiscal year is 1 October to 1 October, and if there's not a budget passed or some continuing resolution, then the government shuts down. And I just wonder why we don't just move it, it's more of a philosophy talk, but why we don't move it to one, because I wonder what authority we're operating under right now, actually, because every year we only approve the budget through the end of June. Is that correct to say?
All of the fiscal years, really throughout the state, end on June 30.
Right. And when we approve the budget in the middle of September, whenever that is, we are approving a budget for the fiscal year that started 2 months
A little
ago.
bit retroactive,
A month
right?
and a half ago. Yeah, it's just an odd way of doing
Tentative.
business.
The tentative allows us, when
Tentative
you
allows.
vote on that, when you vote on the tentative,
Mm-hmm.
it allows us to use that to operate on till we get to the final.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Even though the tentative is also after July 1st.
Right.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
It's closer than September.
Closer than September. And then, so would it be, if someone says to me,
The school year doesn't
how much money I'll spend in the 25-26 school year, and I impressed them and I said, well, actually, it's $1,497,394,830. Is that the right answer? Or is that what that?
Tentatively.
Tentatively. Is that true? I mean, at least as far as we're looking at it today, is that our budget for the next year?
That is the tentative budget.
Right.
As of the stick in the sand for this date that we're here, before we bring you the final, yes.
Which is less than last year, was it? Because last year we were at like 1.6 billion or something, were we not?
So to come up with that number,
Mhm.
and actually, if you go to the budget book,
Should have it.
if you go, actually, it has a better total. So last year, so go to the cover page, which is right after the index,
Okay.
and you have to add both the revenue beginning fund balance to the transfers in the two columns together to get that budget. And so when you add those two together, you're actually looking at 1.72 billion. Last year was 1.58 billion. So you can see that on the very first columns, and on this page, it would be adding those first two columns together.
Because when you look at the budget, it's the amount that you're given to operate on. You can choose not to expend it all. But your total operating budget is the beginning fund balance plus the revenue,
Incoming.
plus any transfers in.
From other funds.
Does that help answer your question?
So your budget, your budget is not what you're going to spend. The way you define it is what the
That-
revenues that you're
That's
getting,
how
What you
it's
have to-
presented.
what you
right.
have to spend, not what you're actually going to spend.
What you have to spend, correct. That would, versus what you think you're going to spend.
So this number here then on slide 16 is what we think we're going to spend?
Yes,
One
tentatively.
Yeah.
$1,497,000,000, and we're gonna have available to us $1,720,000,000.
That's
Correct.
correct.
And actually, technically, if you want to say how much you're spending, add the transfers out column plus the expenditures. So essentially, add that 70 million. So now you're looking at 1.57 million,
Yeah.
billion,
Yeah.
billion, sorry.
1.57 billion.
Billion.
So it's almost, but it's still like $180 million difference between the 1.72 billion and the 1.57 billion that you just said, right? Is that-
Right, so you'll notice on your cover page in that book, it actually does have the difference. It's 152
152 billion.
million,
Yep. Oh, I see it, yep,
So-
right there, so.
the ending.
So you're saying that 147.91,497,000,000 plus the 70,817,000 the transfers out approximately equals 1,568,000,000, which is the center column
Yes,
here. Okay, and so you take the difference, and that's where you get what is the projected ending fund balance.
and remember, you have a lot, the ending fund balance, like in the capital You have those funds there for multiple years. That kind of a thing. You've also got in the other funds, in the general and over in like special revenue, those particular ending fund balances, those are also for already assigned amounts for future use.
And the 152 million there, 617,000 is a combination of all fund balances combined?
Yes.
Capital, general, or whatever, healthcare funds, and all those are sitting there together. Okay,
Right.
great. That's all I had. Keeping it
Perfect.
clear in my brain. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so as promised, these are the changes that went into this tentative budget that were considered in building this since the June general fund workshop. I'm just going to highlight a few of the items, some of the larger items that we had that made up those changes, or at least some of the material ones. We did have an estimated carry forward in restricted programs. Noticeably, the biggest one was like the voted millage, where that was carry forwards coming over. At this time, when we were making the tentative budget, there had been some federal programs that were frozen. That is captured here in this tentative budget. When we bring the final to you, will have been adjusted for that. This also is included, the general fund is picking up some of the extended day costs, you know, how there were extra lengths that were created for the teachers back when they extended the day 15 minutes at the front and back end. So the costs for the salaried, administrative management, professional group, the SAMP group, and the hourly non-bargaining personnel, those particular amounts had been previously paid for by the referendum, and this year we moved those over to the general fund so that there were more, there was room for some of the extra additional requests that the board had agreed to bring in some security, bring some of those new areas in, like the early learning, athletics, those kind of a things. So that's how we found the shift to be able to make that happen inside of the voted millage money. We also picked up, as we had previously talked about, there's new literacy coaches. About 15 of those positions were picked up by the referendum, 17 were picked up by the referendum, and another 17 was picked up by the general fund. So this particular change is picking up those 17 literary coaches in the general fund. And then this is also showing, since the June workshop, that taxable value decrease of $1 billion, which impacted the revenue we had to work with for this year. So those were some of the material ones. Did you want to talk about any of the items you're seeing?
No, I don't see anybody lit up.
I actually would like to talk about it just for a second. So we've talked about this before, not up here on the dais. Help us all understand, and I know there's an explanation for this. On this page number 17, it says, for the layperson who's not a CPA and doesn't do all the accounting that you all do, on the right it says, you're going to get in revenues $625,786,462.
That's the increase of revenue since the last workshop.
But you're going to spend, on the left, $684,330,876, which is a difference of approximately $60 million. But somehow, at the end of the year, you're going to have a big fund balance of $152 million. So you're bringing in less money than you're spending, to the tune of $60 million, according to what this chart shows. And yet, at the end of the year, we have all of our fund balances together. And this is just the operating fund. What's the operating fund? What's the operating fund and balance going to be?
General fund.
The general fund.
61,925.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. So 61,925. Is that
Yeah.
it? So 62 million. Let's round it up. See what I mean? we're gonna bring in 625 million, we're gonna spend 684 million, and yet somehow at the end of the year in our savings account, we're gonna have $60 million left
Right.
over. And that happens year after, if you go back and I started looking at this, like every year, it shows $50 to $60 million more in expenditures than revenue, and yet somehow our fund balance keeps going up. Like, I wish my finances worked like that. Like, if I spent a lot more money
This doesn't show
than.
the carry forward that we are bringing in from the, at the beginning of the year, from the prior fiscal year.
Okay,
And so this is reflecting the anticipated revenues,
right,
anticipated if you've made all of those expenditures. But remember, when we had, on that cover page, we had 152 million that you actually are thinking that you weren't projecting to spend. So while these are the incoming and outgoing anticipated or forecast revenues and expenditures, you're still starting with your savings from the prior year that had purposes, and you will be left with some savings at the end of the year. When we do our budget, when you budget, you do plan on spending, I know Gina can say it a little bit better.
So I tried to explain this, that there's some restricted funds, and some of the programs like AP, ACE, IB, CAPE, you don't get the final student counts on that until third calc, and then you provide it to the schools, but the schools are still spending down the prior year funds. But we have to reappropriate those funds in the budget and have it available for the schools to spend down, if they could, in that short amount of time. So every year, we have a significant amount of carry forward that we then reappropriate into the next year budget. That even though we know we're not going to fully spend it down, you still have to reappropriate it as an expenditure.
okay. So what I hear you saying, at least what I think I understand, is that we show, if we spent everything that we say we're going to spend, this chart right here would be accurate on page 17.
Right.
But because we don't spend everything that we're budgeted to spend, then we end up with a savings at the end of the year, which then just keeps carrying forward over and over and over to the next year, right? It would be like me budgeting. I'm trying to make an easy analogy for my pilot brain, is that let's say that I budgeted $50,000 a year in my house budget for home repairs, but every year it only costs me $30,000 a year. But I budget 50 just because that's what I think I might need. But if I have that windfall every year, then I just keep carrying that 20,000 over. But if I had to show my family, this is the family budget, I would say we're budgeting for $50,000 a year in house repairs. But as it turns out, I'm only spending 30, so I have this carry forward, and I'm being conservative by saying I'm making sure that I have enough to spend everything that I need to pay for. But really, as it's working out, we always have a carryover. Is that
And
a
by-
close
by-
analogy?
By statute, we have to reappropriate these funds.
Okay.
And also by statute, we're required to keep a particular balance also there in
Right.
the general fund as well, too.
Which is a minimum 3%.
Yeah, the state requires 3, and then we have our policy where we have the strategic reserve of 5%, and then we have the contingency reserve of 8.5%.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Tatum, the
Again, thanks. Go ahead, Kevin.
one little edit to your,
Mhm.
I think, to your analogy is
Yeah.
very good, but you're choosing to put 50,000 aside,
Right.
right? We have to put 50,000 aside because that's if we fill every position
Yep.
and we give charter schools every amount that they believe their enrollment is.
Right.
So what happens is your repairs will only cost 20 grand because our 20 grand is we don't fill every position. We'd like to, but
Yeah.
we'd love to find every teacher in the world who can come here and teach. ManateeSchools.net, if you find careers. And
Shameless plug.
and enrollment is fluctuates. So just the one edit is that we have to put 50,000 aside. We just end up only paying 20,000 just because of the way it works out, and that's why we have 30,000. Because I don't want the public to think, we'll just put less money aside then, Kevin. Well, we can, that's what Gina was saying. By law, we have to list these expenditures. These are going to be our expenditures. It just happens that in the end, many of them don't, departments don't spend all the money they have. We don't fill every position, and enrollments sometimes don't meet
Right.
the target, so.
What factor did we use this year for fill rates for our employees?
Gina?
95%.
95%?
Yeah.
Okay, is that a historical average, or are we,
Well, I looked at this year, and we're at like 95.5%.
okay,
We had been doing 97%, but
Okay.
in an effort to try to maybe
Right, close
shorten
the
up
gap a
some of,
little.
close the gap a little bit, we've gone to budget for 95% instead.
okay. Thank you, and thank you for my colleagues up here for indulging me in this. I need to understand it so I can explain it to people when they ask me about it, so, thank you. All right.
Ms. Felton?
Actually, on that note, because I'm with you there, I need to understand it too. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, because I have my own analogies of making sure I'm understanding. English teacher, we think in analogies. To make sure I'm understanding this, so, we have our fiscal year, we have this many things we have to pay for, but we're not going to actually get paid for like 9 months. And so we have the money that we held because we still have to pay all these bills, and then we're finally going to get that money at the end of the year, a chunk of which we will now hold for the coming year. Am I following that correctly?
A lot of it happens that way because, one, the property taxes, this district doesn't see a big influx. It doesn't really start until some in November, but December, January, and February. For the local funding revenue coming in, those are the months that we see quite a bit of it. The FEFP has its particular start rates to this district, and we do look at our cash flows, and to assist with some of that, we do bring to you a tax anticipation note, which our finance director has been working on the cash flows, and I will be bringing you another one because it looks like October, November, December, we will be in need of a tax anticipation note if all of those expenditures were to take place, to assist with that, to make sure that the cash flows are there to meet that need, and then we reimburse that by February.
Okay,
Again.
so that all makes sense. So I'm also looking at it then, we're anticipating, and this is why you bring us budget changes every other meeting, is like, oh, and we're going to adjust these many things and this many things, and we didn't spend this, and now we have to buy that, and so that'll make sense to me. Like in terms of householding, our washing machine died. This is a true story. Our washing machine died. We're like, okay, we need to get this one piece replaced. We're going to pay the flat fee. Otherwise, we're going to have to buy a whole new washing machine, which is, way more than you really want to pay. But then it turns out that that's not going to work. So now we have to pay. So we budgeted for the brand new washing machine, but because we've paid the flat rate, now we don't have to, and they were able to repair everything. So now we have this extra money
So
that
you have some savings.
we have savings of. So that's where all of our little adjustments come
There's a
along.
lot of, Gina and her team are tackling that every day.
Every day,
Keep an
yeah.
eyeball on that, and that's what it then turns into that summer I give you once a month as far as the budget changes that did occur, our projection for what year-end will look like, so that's why we do bring that to you in those board briefings.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay?
We're good?
Okay, so now on to the, some of the presentation of the capital plan as what was, including some of the discussions that occurred today in regards to some of the changes in those projects. We had that meeting on May 23rd, where we brought to you the 5-year capital plan. At that point in time, we did not. That's when the discussion of the charter school share did occur. So on this first slide, this is the revenue. We have split out, made some changes to this that you haven't usually seen on this slide. We have broken out the ad valorem proportionate share for charter schools, the 1.5 mil, and the district. That's on row 1 and 2. We also have broken out, you'll see lines 10 and 11. That's where we've also broken out the sales tax revenue between the district and the charter schools. There will be some the expenses related to the charter schools. These particular amounts match what we have in the expenditure section for those relative expenses. We're expecting that to just be a wash in and out. Let's see, we also adjusted row 20, which has certificates of participation. The previous presentation and in your book had the 170 mil. We went with option number 2 that Joe had presented earlier today, where the high school was 107.5 mil, and we had picked up the Moody cost of 3 mil and the Barbara Harvey, was it the Barbara Harvey edition?
30 mil for Moody.
30 mil, what did I say? 3 mil? No,
It's
30
30
mil.
for
Lake
Oh,
Mana-
y'all
Lake-
wish it were, so any.
Lake Manatee K.
Lake Manatee K8 was 17.5 mil. So that brings us to 155 mil.
Ms. Trainer?
All right, now I'm going to turn this over to Joe to
Okay.
talk about it.
I do have a question on the previous slide, sorry about that.
Okay.
So on line number 11, just out of curiosity, sales tax revenue, charter schools, my understanding was that this upcoming year, 25, 26, is when we're going to start giving them their fair share, so to speak. Is that correct?
Right, so I believe it's 4.4 mils, 50% of that particular share
Yeah.
for, and then that additional is, we have one of the conversion charter school is getting a technology grant funded by the surtax. So that is why you do see, like in year 0.
That's what why is our money in years?
So we do, because while the other charter schools started getting the mill, the conversion charter is not eligible for the 1.5 mil, so that left them with none. And when this district was given the block grant, that is when, again, that particular school ended up getting a technology grant because they're not eligible to receive those capital funds. The district, as a conversion charter, the district pays for their capital improvements, renovations, and stuff like that. And there's actually a line item in the capital plan for taking care of their school.
So the law says that charter schools get their fair share, so to speak, of the 1.5 mil capital tax, except conversion charter schools are not eligible for their fair share. Therefore, they can apply to us, to the district, for grants or something.
This district chose to give that to them. It's not written in law that the
Okay.
district has to, but
Right.
the district chose to still be able to, do for them the way they're doing for the other charters.
So coming up, you mean, right? Like, we want to make it so that the conversion charters get their fair share, just like all the other charters? Is that what you're saying? No, that's not what you're saying.
No, they'll still be, that conversion will still be getting a technology grant, while the other schools
Right.
is the cert or the proportionate share of the sales tax is to the eligible
Right.
charters related to that statute, which would not include the conversion.
Right, but this amount of money here is to help make up for some of that, because they're not
They don't get the
eligible.
1.5 mil.
Because they don't get the 1.5 mil. So we're,
Correct.
like, this year they got 89,000.
89,000,
And every year they get,
a
They-
little,
they-
something like that. We send them a letter to let them know, they give us their plan of what they're gonna spend it on,
and is it a percentage-based thing, or do they send us like a grant application or something? or-
and no, we've, there's an estimate that is taken, using, I believe, technology spend that the district does, and it's averaged out, and they get a proportion like that, based on like the NFT. So we notify them after we do the calculation, let them know how much it is, and they indicate, yes, they would like to participate, and then they give us a little
Okay.
plan, how they'll spend the money.
I think we have just the one conversion, is that Rolette?
Correct, roulette.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have, thanks.
Good.
Good evening. I'm going to go first through the active new construction projects. We've got the two elementary schools, the one Rye Ranch and the one located at Artisan Lakes that are under contract and under construction. Planned opening of July 2026, and those were part of the COPS 2025. Barbara Harvey K8. That was an impact fee project, and that will be opening up this July. The Lake Manatee K8, the elementary portion will be opening up this July. Next July, the middle school portion will be opening up, and that was a combination of impact fees and sales tax. And then Lake Manatee K8 Edition is one of the new projects that we have on the list. That's going to be part of the new COPS, as Ms. Sellers said, with a planned opening of July 2027. And then AAA High School is going to be part of ACOPS, depending on what the configuration is. It will be part of the COPS, and that will be, it says July, yeah, will be planned opening for July of 2027 at this point right now. So those are the new projects that are on the budget, new construction projects.
Ms. Spray?
I just want to clarify for the public, Lake Manatee K8, the addition, that was always the plan for that. This isn't a new thing we're throwing at you. This is something that we decided to build what we needed first and then add later. So I just wanted to clarify that for the public.
Thank you, exactly. And I mean, the building is configured in order to accommodate that immediate addition
All
as
of the
well.
electrical technology, plumbing, all of that is already there, the
Yep,
pad,
in
everything.
place.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that that wasn't something that would be thrown off.
And then I'm going to go through the 5-year plan. I'm only going to highlight the changes from our May 23rd meeting and give you the highlights, because during May, we went through line item by line item. But, so line item 36, which is the Barbara Harvey K8 edition, we moved that out 1 year. That will be funded by impact fees. That's on line 36. Line 59 is that Lake Manatee K8 edition. It's going to be COPS 2026, 360 additional student station. That project was originally funded by sales tax, so we shifted from sales tax to COPS. Line 67 is Lincoln Middle School. Is a sales tax project as well. We reduced that from 29 million to 25 million, and that's out in the late years. And then on line item 80, that's the MTC Aircraft Maintenance Tech School. We have the additional $1 million that we've received through the state appropriations for that as well. So those are the changes that you'll see today, as well as when we do the final. Any questions on there?
Yes, Mr. Tatum.
So on this page here, number 21, is the line for Artisan Lakes covered up by the blue bar up there? Is it missing the expenditures for Artisan Lakes? Because I can find Barbara Harvey, I can find Lake Manatee, I can find the new high school, I can find Rye Ranch, but I can't find Artisan Lakes.
Line item number 89 is new elementary school, Artisan Lakes.
Oh, I see
Since
that.
we haven't come up with a
Not
name
in
yet,
Not
we
in
haven't,
alphabetical order, yeah.
we
Right.
haven't,
Keep you on your toes.
we didn't want to put Artisan
That's
Lakes
right.
in there, so it's under new elementary. Next page.
Oh.
Okay, I understand. All right, got it. Thanks.
Okay, and then going to
Wait,
the
wait.
next page,
My
line
question
item.
is on
Oh, no, we have
21.
one more question.
Oh, one more
Ms.
question on
I'm
this
sorry.
page?
My
Sorry.
question's on page 21. Lincoln Middle, I can't remember what that renovation was gonna be, but we pushed it all the way out to 2930.
It has been out in year 4 and 5. We really haven't developed what the schematic is, but we believe at this point right now, it's gonna be HVAC, finishes, flooring, complete refresh of all the finishes for that, as well as looking at the mechanical systems as well.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go on to the next slide. Line item 86 is a entry reconfiguration at Miller Elementary School, and the county is actually doing the design work for us on that, and we're going to be doing the construction work. It has to do with some of the widening, Chick-fil-A that showed up there and things like that are exacerbating traffic a little bit. So the county approached us. They said, we'll design it if you build it, so we're going to do that. Line 87 is Moody Elementary School, and that was a sales tax project, and we've moved it to the 2026 COPS, as Ms. Sellers said, for $30 million. Line 88 is Myaka Elementary School. We've actually taken that out of sales tax as well, and we've moved it to a 2029 COPS, and we do show the revenue on the front there, so we're anticipating a COPS, and or if we make a savings on the COPS that we actually are issuing right now, maybe we could roll that project in, but that's a future debt service project as well. Line 90, we reduced AAA on this go-round from 149 million down to 107 million. It may go lower than that, but for this preliminary or tentative, that's where we are. Lines 123 through 124 are all the district-wide with security, media centers, none of that changed, so that all remained the same. Any questions on that page? Okay.
I think so.
To the next one. So lines 135 through 155 are the maintenance. None of that has been modified since the May presentation. Line 161 is a charter school proportionate share for the sales tax on the gliding scale. So this year 50%, then 60, 80, 100, and 100, totaling 45.8 million. So that's line 61. Line 168, we added 15,000 there. We were notified by the bus company that there was a tariff of approximately $3,000 per bus, and we still wanted to be able to buy 10 buses, so we had to add $15,000 to make up what that invoice was going
What
to
line
be.
is that?
Line 172.
168.
168.
Yeah,
buses.
168 is the buses. We
Okay.
did a small increase there. And then on line 172, our warehouse box truck barely made it through the summer. So we're going to be replacing it because we've got a lot of service that needs to be done there. So we're going to retire that box truck. You'll see it on surplus sometime in the future, and we will sell it for parts and buy a new one for this year. So that's those items on that page.
And nothing on the next page, right?
The next page, let's see, just line item 177, we did adjust the lease program, and we're evaluating the enterprise lease program right now because they've had some increases relative to their vehicle costs that have impacted us. So we're working for the final budget to have a number that will work for us. Right now, we increased this line item by about $88,000 in order to keep us on schedule for replacing our lease vehicles. And then the last thing is line 203. That's the certificate of participation for the 2026, where it was at 182 million, brought down to 155 million, and that's the debt service for that. That's all.
I don't see any other board members lit up to speak. Mr. Tatum, Ms. Spray, you guys are still on though.
Oh,
by the way.
I'm
We're
sorry.
I would still like to.
Oh, yeah,
say one.
Mr. Tatum.
Ms. Spray, or Ms.,
Sellers.
right, not Ms. Spray, Ms. Sellers.
You can talk to me too.
I can dialogue with you too. At the very end there, what is our projected debt service on an annual basis approximately? If, assuming we do the both COPs?
The debt service for the next 5 years?
On an annual basis approximately. Like
Oh,
how much are we paying?
approximately, you're looking at 60, well, years 3 and out. The total for the debt service is line 180, 189.
Line 189.
So like you can see in year 5, it's 62 million. Year 2,
35,
53 million.
44,
So
53,
it's
60.
bolded, the total on the top of that.
Okay. And we do 20-year bonds for our cops, is that?
We had been, I did get a projection from our financial advisors today, and for the next one, they are showing us using, instead of 2025.
25?
Yeah, but we'll have more discussion about that when, if we get time to be able to bring that in. And if we go forward, we can even have, where we had scheduled, if things are going in the direction of like this particular cops being at 155, we can even have them make that presentation like we had last year. But I think you were probably going to be interested in what that reserve was. I think one of you guys had mentioned earlier the 50% of the 1.5 million, was 0.75 is the 50%. With an add of 155 million, that puts that the current required millage at 0.57. So you are still far like $12 million away from being at that 50% mark. So as far as projects that you could pick up.
What-
And still be at 50% of the 1.5 mil, which is their preferred spot to not incur more debt past. But you can, you are still allowed to go up to actually up to the,
It's 12 million of annual
12
payments.
right,
And
right.
not dollar amount for
Oh.
investment, that would,
correct,
Be
correct. 12 million in
under-
annual payments.
Yeah.
So,
This is a real esoteric point. I like that word, esoteric. So what that means is, what you just said is, if you took all the revenue that comes in from the 1.5 mil capital tax in a year, and you times it by 50%, the people who lend us money would not like us to go over. If, let's say it was $150 million that we bring in with the 1.5 mil, so times 0.5 would be 75 million. The people who lend us money would prefer that we not have our annual debt payment be more than 75 million. Is that
no,
true or no? That's not how it
they
works.
try to use that as a preferred target to not go past. You
Right?
you
They would
are
prefer
allowed
that we
to
not go over that.
you are allowed to it's allowable to use up to, I believe, 1.25 of the 1.5 mil for debt service.
Right.
But they recommend, but you are still allowed to go past that 50% mark, so you take, so
You're allowed. My question was, though,
they
they
encourage.
prefer,
They prefer.
which I think I
That's
just
the
heard you
word.
echo me too,
Yeah.
right? I'm trying to get to a point.
Right.
So would it be correct to say then that on line 189, that is the, of all the cops that we have, whatever ones we've done in the past, 2017, 2019, that's how much we spend to service the money that we've borrowed. Either what we're doing now, like last year we spent 35 million to service the money that we borrowed, and then when we did the new cops last fall, and then we're projecting maybe doing one this year. So that's what 189, line 189 shows, right? How much, it's like our mortgage payment every year. Is that a good analogy?
That's a good analogy.
Okay. So in 5 years, our mortgage payment over that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years that are on this page here, which is 24. We're going to pay $286,694,000 just in mortgage payments. Is that correct? Okay. I'm just pointing that out. The whole discussion that I had earlier about trying to reduce the cost of building schools by tens of millions of dollars directly impacts. That's $286 million over a 6-year time frame just in mortgage payments. If you add up the cost, which I did here, of the 5 new schools that we're building, assuming that we're going to spend $107 million, it's $412 million for those 5 schools. And we have to go out and, if you do the 2 cops that we looked at, one that we already did for 151 and the other one for 155 coming up, that's $356 million that we're going to go borrow, and if you do the math on that, I mean, that's like, we have to borrow, of that $412 million that we're spending on 5 schools, we have to go out and borrow $356 million,
The debt-
86% of it. Now,
This is already picking up debt service for the future costs.
that is true too.
That's already in here. See, it's
But your
line
point is still relevant. We're
203.
paying 286,000 on top of the
The-
400. I mean, we're paying.
Well, I understand that, it's for previous debt. All I'm pointing out is that we are picking up this year, over this last fiscal year, we did a COPS for 150 million, right, 151 million?
150 million.
5,
Oh.
when I want 55.
I thought it was one.
No,
On this chart, you had it was
it was
151.
150 million, but remember, we
call it
sold the
150.
stuff for 139 because we got approved.
Yeah.
But it showed on your chart back here somewhere, it was 100, it showed 151 in the last year and 155 in the year coming up. Let's just call it, for round numbers, 300 million over the, do you remember what?
Oh, I see, you're looking at there was, I see we're getting the 150, 151.
Yeah, what page is that on, do you remember?
That was slide 19.
Slide 19. Yep. So that's where I'm getting that. Like, so last year, at least that's what it shows, 151 million. So that's 306 million dollars of, let me do that math again, 'cause is it wrong? 306 million divided by 412, that's 75%. We have to go out and borrow 75% of the money that we need to build these 5 new schools. That's, and over the course of 5 years, based on previous, I mean, the point is, we just keep running up the credit card. We just keep running it up, running it up, running it up, running it up. And that's why I'm somewhat passionate about, if we can find a way to save tens of millions of dollars in building these schools, we owe it to the taxpayers of Manatee County to do it. And so, now I'll hop off that soapbox.
And I do have my hand raised now, for real.
Again, okay, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. To his point, looking at the debt service of the COPS, we have a COPS for the tax bond from 2017 on line 193, correct?
Yeah.
That goes all the way across the 5 years of this 5-year plan, right?
Right.
Okay. Is that ever going to go away, or is that going to just keep going every year after
Oh,
year
no,
after year?
it's got a, all of these have mature dates.
Right, that one does.
But it's just not in the next.
It's just not,
It's not the
within
next 5 years. How many more years does that tax bond go to?
I'd have to send that to you.
I hope it's not the 2030, 32 date. Anyway, so, probably
That would have been my guess, is 2032.
32. That's what I'm thinking, is probably gonna go out to
But I don't know for sure.
2032. And then,
Which is only 2 years off the sheet.
only 2, good point. Then, line 198 is a COPS from 2015 that we still have 3 years on. And then you follow down to 2016, we still have all the way out to 2029. And to Mr. Tatum's point, just to service the debts, we're paying nearly $287 million over a 5-year period. But even just, if you look at just 1 year, and year 3, we're up to $62 million on this 5-year plan of just servicing our debt. That's just paying on our credit card, So that's why we had such a long workshop about AAA school, is we gotta quit borrowing all this money. And I'm with you on that 100%. I mean, we talked earlier about future boards. Future boards are gonna have to deal with all this debt. And at some point, we're gonna cap off. And I don't want to, I understand what you're saying is our investors say we can do it up to 75% or whatever limit they give us. I don't want to do that. I certainly do not want to do that. And that's what I hear. Well, we'll just do a cops. When I go back to page 22, projected legend, and it's got all the different cops, and it goes all the way to 2029. You know, so
Can I dialogue with you for a
Since
second?
this is the
Please.
capital budget, I mean, the
I know
cops
that.
that I'm most familiar with are the three of 23, 25, 26. Keep in mind, 23, we did 6 campuses. The 26, we did the 2 elementary schools. The one we're proposing now is we're gonna do Moody, the addition. So we've touched 10 campuses of our 54 campuses and we're spending $36 million a year on that for, what is the total, 150, over 300? Is it over 300 million?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's one of the things that, I was real happy when I came here that I saw the Jacobs report and then saw the commitment to finance the Jacobs report for the deferred maintenance, because a lot of districts never make that commitment to fund the deferred maintenance and take those, the 6 most neediest campus, Hale, Terra, and all those, Onico, and actually dedicate money associated with it. So I look at it from the standpoint, we touch 10 of the campuses with those 3 cops right now, so. I
right,
mean,
it's just
20%
like
of
when
your
you have,
campuses.
to Mr. Tatum's analogy, a credit card, you have a limit on your credit cards. What's our limit? You know, it's
But it's
whatever.
not the same as a credit. I mean,
I understand. Yeah, I know. that.
because some of these, even these bonds, these cops that we're talking about, are paid by impact fees. So they're not even paid. I mean, they're not even paid by the tax. I mean, they're paid by impact fees from the builder. So I think it's a different conversation than just a normal mortgage or a normal credit card rate. Mr. Chapman.
And maybe we can have a workshop item on that, maybe to talk about this a little bit more, because it's a serious conversation, and we can kind of bring more to the table. But you have to remember, if you think of us as a corporation, these are our assets. We have to upkeep our assets,
Right.
right? There's also, I understand your point, Mr. Tatum, there are taxpayers who are worried about their tax dollars being spent efficiently. There's also taxpayers who want quality, first-rate schools. So there's a balance there. So I do think it's a great conversation to have, maybe a more lengthier one, where we can talk about as we, whatever we decide on an eighth, you all decide on an 8th high school and so forth. And as we look to a potential next COPS, maybe this is where we have that lengthier conversation about what is the right balance of debt to carry as a school district, and how we do that and weigh that balance, so that we can talk about it more than maybe this evening, I guess is what
Yeah.
I'm suggesting.
Would it be true to say, I think we talked about this in maybe the board briefing, that we had to move the Mayaka and the Moody renovations into COPS, basically borrow money for them because we had to we're giving them $43 million or so to the,
Charter.
so now we're just borrowing more money, which we had already, so it's a false analogy, Mr. Chapman, to say, well, because it kind of what you're saying is, well, there are some taxpayers who want really quality schools, so your plan must be that we're just going to build crappy schools. If you want to if you want to find a way to build it like, at least kind of like a charter school, or find a way to save money, we really have to spend everything that we can, because and you told me this yesterday, and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
When we were upstairs, you said, well, the way I look at it is, we can afford it, so why not just spend it?
Yeah, and
Because
I'll-
I want nice schools.
and-
And that's a great answer as your job is to get the best schools that we can. My job is to get to be the best steward that I can of the taxpayers' money,
And-
so.
And I am too, Mr. Tatum.
Okay.
These aren't new schools we're talking about. We're talking about taking existing schools, our assets,
Right,
right, that are our most valuable assets. We have to put 20 million into that school.
right,
There's no other option.
right. But if,
You have to borrow, but you're borrowing against something that is already there. The money is already there. What you're suggesting is to somehow lower a millage that we already have to levy.
no, what I'm saying is if we could lower the cost of building the new
Spending.
AAA high school from $100 million to
Sure,
$60 million
sure.
by using some of the laws that I showed today and finding a way to
I'm
do
with you.
that,
I'm
then we
with
don't
you on
have to
that.
take the 2 renovations that we dumped into the cops and we borrow $40 million less.
And that's
See?
if the taxpayers of who would go to that 8th high school agree that they want not a $100 million school that they're paying for, right? You're suggesting, and this is a great debate, right? You're suggesting that they all agree that they'd like a $60 million high school. We don't know that.
Well, I know the ones that I represent.
They're the ones paying, and they moved here, buying a very expensive home because they want a quality first-rate school. So it's a great debate, and I just think there's a reason why we have the construction guidelines that we have in this county, and it's a reason why people are moving here because of the quality of our schools. And I agree with you. We have to look at every way to lower costs. There's also a balance, I believe, of giving taxpayers of the entire county quality schools that they also would like to pay for. And I just think that, and also protect and upkeep our assets. And no matter where you live in this district, and no matter what school you go to in whatever neighborhood, needs to look the same, right? And so no matter where you are in whatever part of the county, you should be going to the same quality school, and we have to keep those schools up, and that's the cost of it. But I agree with you. The trying to find a way to make sure that we're building a school and we're not overpaying for something that we could be building for less.
I know the taxpayers that I represent, at least the ones that probably voted for me, let's put it that way, and the ones in my district, for the most part, would like to somehow try and get their taxes to come down. And the only way we're going to be able to do this eventually is to lower the cost of operating the system. And I just think it's a somewhat of a false dichotomy to say that, because it's being set up as an either or. Either we pay the full. We're just in this process of go to the builders with our requirements, and they tell us how much it costs, and we go, okay. Instead of going to them and saying, well, this is what our budget is, build us a nice school within our budget.
That's not quite how it works, Mr. Tatum. There's a bidding process. It's a quite extensive bidding process.
Yeah.
And we actually do take pretty much the lowest bid. I mean,
Right.
it is a very extensive process
Right.
that's scored because we're up to legal challenge if it's not. So
Right.
it's not, give us your best Taj Mahal. I mean, we are looking at finding the best construction management firm to build the best school under a budget that we believe we can handle. It's up to you five to decide if you want to take those standards and find a different way to build a different kind of school.
But it does work like that, Mr. Chapman, because what we do is we say, these are our requirements. And we go to, 5 builders bid, and the one guy says 85, and one guy says 76, and one guy says 69. But they tell us, this is what if these are your requirements, this is what you're going to pay. And then we pick the one, either the lowest bidder, or we pick the one that we think is giving us the best bang for our buck. Whereas the other process that I'm suggesting is, here's the budget. Here's how much money we're going to spend, right? Because we've decided that we don't want to borrow all this money. We don't want to pay $286 million in debt service over a 6-year period. We want to start bringing that down, lower the debt, so to speak, lower our debt payments. So that we're going to reverse the process and say, here's how much we're willing to spend. Now, you 5 builders, go out and figure out, tell us how you can build us a nice school for the taxpayers of Manatee County for this amount of money. Because as long as we just keep going to them and saying, these are our requirements, they're just going to keep saying, well, this is how much it is, and you're going to pay that if you want it, right? Until you, at least in my mind, until you reverse that process the other way and say, like, it's like me walking into a car dealership, Mr. Chapman, and saying, I want a nice car, what do you got? Well, we got $75,000 one, and an $80,000 one, and a $100,000 one, and a $95,000 one. That's very different if I go into the dealership and I say, I've got $40,000 to spend, show me the best thing I can get for $40,000. And then I can decide, well, this is my budget. I'd like all the bells and whistles on the $95,000 car, but I don't want to spend that much. I want to spend $40,000. So what's something nice that you got for $40,000? And maybe they say, they show me $40,000 and I go, okay, I really want a few more bells and whistles. I'm willing to go up to $50,000. But that's a very different process than just walking into the car dealership and saying, here are all my requirements. And they just go, well, $90,000, $80,000, $70,000, $60,000. Okay, I guess I got to pay that if I.
Well, we can, you
We
and
can-
I.
I want to
Right.
call.
We
I want
can
to say
start-
time out because
yeah.
we've talked about this already for
My hand was
an hour.
still
I'm going to go. I'm going to go to you're the next person up. You're in the Miss Felton. But I agree with what you're saying, and I think we can talk about that structure and how we do that process. I don't think it's tonight when we're talking about the tentative budget. I think it all plays a part into it. Absolutely agree with you. So definitely we can put it on like an agenda item for workshop for sure.
Got it.
Ms. Spray?
Now,
Ms. Felton?
now back to me, because that's where it started, then up here, but that's fine, I'm good with that.
Okay.
So, when I'm looking at the cops I'm looking at line 198, which will be paid off and, from this chart, 27, right?
Yeah, so actually, when we bring the final budget to you, the budget book, actually for each of the funds, there's a description in the debt service fund, and that is where you'll be able to see that the sales tax for 2017.
Right.
It actually does end when that 2032.
2032, just what I
And so
thought.
the maturity
Okay.
then is at 2033.
Okay,
At the one that you were highlighting just then on 198.
Yep.
So the 2015, that matures in 2027.
and then the next one matures in 20,
You got the 2016 and the QZAB, those both mature in 2029.
which one?
Sorry, well, see, we've got let's see,
Line 199?
sorry, 190, okay, let me match this up here. Yeah, 193, that's the one that ends in 33. The 198, that one matures in 2027.
Right,
You see that?
right.
And then line 199, that one matures in 2029.
Right,
Then you've got the line 204, that's the QZAB one. That one also matures in 2029.
and that one we got in 2010.
Yes,
was
and
a
that's an
30-year
interesting one. It's where the federal government pays interest on the people who purchase those certificates in the form of tax credits.
Okay. Okay, so that one was a 30-year deal.
Right.
Okay. So
So
I
we
was
have
right
at
on the
least-
sales tax one, that it was gonna be 2032, but, okay. All right, those was the question. I wanted to make sure I'm reading that these mature here. And if you look at the mature ones versus the ones that's going on, there's not an equal balance here. We have more that we are paying on than are falling off. So that was my whole point why I wanted to talk is, we only have two falling off for the next 5 years.
Actually, you've got 3 falling off.
Which
You've
one's the
got,
third one?
the
Oh,
line
the
at
204. Well, that's a really kind of a smaller one, but,
And in all honesty, in year 6, you've got the 2017 falls off or matures.
we'll be adding. We'll be adding a line, to be quite honest. We'll be adding another
Just
line
the-
by then.
COPS 2026,
yeah.
unless you add the COPS
Okay.
2029.
Well, that was all I had for that, so I wanted to make sure I was understanding that and for the
Okay.
public to understand that.
Ms. Todd?
too.
I just had a suggestion, because we have this discussion of what is the acceptable level of debt. And I don't want to discuss it now, because I know you've got other things to talk about with us. But when we just bring this to, again, for the topic of discussion, it might be interesting for us to see what other districts of our size have in terms of levels of debt. Because, we're in a little bubble. We know what we have and what we think might be acceptable. But, to see other districts of our size, how are we? How do we compare to other districts of our size? I think that might be
Yeah.
our
something
Before
to
you were
look
on the
at.
board, but I think
They do
when we
that.
did that like a couple years ago, when we did the
Yeah.
cops, I think we showed
don't remember.
where everybody was.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because I think that would be really helpful. And part of the reason, though, we, with these projects that we had funded, the district staff had funded through sales tax revenue. These were already funded. But then we chose to give $45 million of that sales tax revenue to the charter schools. So now we have to make that up. Because, a lot of those repairs, the maintenance, the different schools that need things fixed, and I'm not going to go back and debate whether or not we should have done anything. That's not what I'm trying to do. Please don't misunderstand. But we have to make that up somewhere. So that is also something else we have to take into consideration. We have to make that up somewhere, because we no longer can budget that funds. So it kind of comes down to, how are we going to fix those things that need to be fixed? Because, if you got a leaky pipe, I told you guys last week, my shower's leaking. It's spreading, the walls are getting wet, we got to fix it. I can't say, well, I budgeted that money for something else. I got to figure out how to pay for it. The repairs need to get done. So, that's what we're going to have to figure out is are we going to get cops to do that? And that's why I recommend that we talk about, what is that acceptable level of debt, and to kind of do that comparison, because obviously I wasn't here when you guys presented it. Ms. Spray said she doesn't remember
Well, I don't remember all the details.
So, but that might be something for us to look at as well, to kind of, that way we can kind of have a frame of view that's outside, beyond, more of a world view versus the neighborhood view, if that makes sense.
May I please dialogue with you for a second? But at least it seems to me, for instance, if we went, and I know it's not realistic apparently because of the timeframes that we're looking at, but imagine if we could go out to the builders right now and say, we'd like you to build us this new high school for 1,000 students, but here's your budget, $60 million. We save $47 million, and then that's where the money comes from to do a lot of the maintenance and stuff. We don't have to make up for it, right?
I understand what you're coming from.
Yeah, in the future, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'll probably end up voting yes on the new school for 107 million, whatever, but it's the last one that I'm going to vote on, that I will vote for, where we haven't where we haven't done the reverse process, which is, here's how much we want to spend, and go to the builders and make them fit it into our budget, because this is just out of hand, in my opinion, out of hand ridiculous. $286 million of debt service over 5 years is outrageous. We keep running up the credit card. You can see the money, 35 million in 24-25, 44 million in 25-26, 53 million in 26-27, and it just 62 million in 27-28, and it just stays there and stays there and stays there. And I will say one thing, Mr. Chapman, as we're dialoguing back and forth, is that we say it's not like a business, but yet you and I have had conversations where it's like, well, I have to we're kind of, we're all competing for students, all the different type of schools out there, private schools, charter schools, public schools. So either it is like a business or it's not like a business. Like I mean, some part of me says, well, he'll never say anything to me in private again, but these things just have to come out. Is like, the idea, Mr. Chapman, of, and I'll be honest with you, when I walked away
Mr.
last night,
Tatum, I wasn't
as much
done.
as I like you, well, that's true. I was dialoguing with you, but as much
And
as
then
I
now
like,
you're dialoguing with Mr. Chapman.
True, but as much as I like you, the attitude of we can afford it, so we're going to spend it, can't be the right attitude in the Manatee County school system. And I will be quiet because you're right. Maybe I went off like that. And I really appreciate the job you do, Mr. Chapman. I think you're doing a great job as a superintendent. But we're going to have to at least continue that dialogue between the two of us because that can't be the right attitude. So okay, thank you.
I think there's a whole lot in that whole thing, so I'll just leave it till another time.
Yeah, I will
when-
give up
when-
the floor then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back. Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely forgot that you guys were dialoguing. You good? Sorry. I forgot you guys were dialoguing and you were talking. So
I
if you're,
dialogue and I dialogue somewhere else.
are you good? You good? Okay. I don't see any other board members lit up to speak. So I'm going to close this public hearing and then reconvene the regular meeting for this evening. As we
So
move-
moved.
As we move on to the approval of the 2025-2026 tentative millage rates. Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it. And so I'm looking 4.2A. Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve the required local effort millage for the fiscal year 25-26 of 3.056 mils.
So moved.
Oh, damn it.
Second.
Oh, I said it first.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. Seeing no board members to discuss.
Although now it's
I think
flipped.
so.
I'm now the
It's-
second.
Going crazy.
Got it. Sorry, I just didn't hit the button. I got it.
Yeah, no worries.
Thought I did.
And we go ahead and vote on that motion to approve the required local effort millage for 25-26, and that passes 5-0. 4.2B, Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve discretionary operating millage for the fiscal year 2025-2026 of 0.748 mils.
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to let them do it.
We're racing up here. Don't mind us.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Seeing no members of the board ready to speak, let's go ahead and vote when it comes up on the approval of the discretionary operating millage for the fiscal year 25-26 of 0.748 mils. That passes 5-0. Item 4.2C, Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve additional operating voted levy millage for the fiscal year 25-26 of 1.0 mil.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. I don't see any board members lit up to speak, so let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the additional operating millage for fiscal year 25-26 of 1.0 mil. And that passes 5-0. Item number 4.2D, Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve local capital outlay millage for the fiscal year 2025-2026 of 1.5 mils.
So moved.
A second.
Motion is second on the floor. No board members lit up to speak. So let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the local capital outlay millage for the fiscal year 25-26 of 1.5 mils.
Sorry.
And that passes 5-0. 4.2E, Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve Resolution 2025-003, adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 total millage of 6.304 mils.
So moved.
Go ahead, Sally.
Second.
See motion is second. See no board members lit up to speak. Let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the resolution 2025-003 adopting the fiscal year 25-26 total millage of 6.304 mils. And that passes 5-0. All right, moving on to item number 4.3, approval of the 25-26 tentative budget. Mr. Chapman.
I recommend that the board approve Resolution 2025-004, adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 tentative budget in the amount of $1,720,829,581.
So moved.
Second?
Second. Oh, did you already second?
Yes.
Oh. I'll withdraw. All right, a motion and a second on the floor. No members are lit up to speak. So let's go ahead and approve the 25-26 tentative budget as stated by the superintendent. And that is approved 5-0. All right, that concludes our
Public.
meeting for the tentative budget and tentative millage rates. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn us, and I think we need 5 minutes
Yep.
to get the next meeting ready. So we are adjourned for approximately 5 minutes. All right, welcome back. Officially calling this July 29, 2025 school board meeting to order. Let's vote on the approval of the agenda for this particular meeting. If I get a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
There's our motion and a second for the approval of the agenda for this meeting for this evening.
There it goes.
So let's go ahead and vote on the agenda. And that passes 5-0. All right, we got a couple public comments this evening. Let's start with first Paulina Perez, followed by Jack Lawrence. Come on down. You can either come around to the podium if you want to sit in that one chair without the computer. Up to you. Whatever you want to do. All right.
That's the spirit.
Now I'll take this.
Thank you so much. Okay. Good evening, board members. My name is Paulina Perez, and I am a resident of Manatee County. I first want to thank you for how quickly you responded after concerns came up about the federal funding freeze last week. Seeing a statement on the district website made a difference for everyone. It showed that you were willing to step in when it mattered, and I truly appreciated that. The reason I'm speaking tonight is because the proposed 2026 federal education budget is still a serious concern, and we need your continued leadership. The 2026 budget keeps Title I funding the same. However, a lot of other important programs like after-school care, summer learning, support for English learners, migrant students, and students with disabilities would lose funding. These programs aren't only nice to have, but they're programs that students and teachers in our district depend on every day. For me, this isn't about being involved in politics at all. It's just making sure students, families, and teachers have the resources that they need. That's why I'm asking for two things tonight. What I'd really like to see is a public town hall. People still have a lot of questions about what happened with the freeze, and now with this new budget proposal, there's even more uncertainty. A town hall would give everyone a clear picture of what's going on and let them be part of the conversation. I'm also asking the board to pass the updated resolution that's been passed around. It would show that Manatee County is standing up for its students and teachers while also asking Congress and state leaders to plan for the possible impact of these cuts. It's a way to be proactive instead of waiting until it's too late. Thank you again for stepping up last week. I hope you'll keep showing that same leadership as we all work to protect the future of our students and schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Lawrence, followed by Steve Zikafus.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jack Lawrence, and I'm a Manatee County student. First off, I wanted to thank you for posting an update on the school district website concerning the funding freeze. And I'm glad to hear that the money has been returned to the district. Even though this particular funding is now restored, I want to express my gratitude for this board's responsiveness and transparency in the last week. However, our funding in 2026 is still in jeopardy. As it stands, the Federal Department of Education has cut over $12 billion, or 15.3% of its 2026 budget. 18 programs, such as early childhood education, have been completely defunded in the proposed budget. Instead, they are giving significantly less money than usual to each state and letting them decide how to spend it. For better or worse, this is a complete overhaul of how this district will be funded. Given this, Manatee County needs to protect its future because, right now, we have time to prepare for changes before they arise. So, in order to remain transparent and responsive, I ask this board to pass the proposed resolution and host a town hall to inform the community. Thank you again for your visibility last week. I hope to see it continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Zikafus.
Man, I wish I was that
together when I was their age. For real.
I'm learning from them. I'm going to try what the young man did on my phone this time, okay? Good. Good evening, board members and interim superintendent, Mr. Chapman. I want to thank each of you for your willingness to listen and understand during these last several months, and thank you for your support of all public school students. I want to take a moment to recognize the fact that Manatee County has become a national leader in parent choice. Whether it's a charter school, a district magnet, or open enrollment here in Manatee County, we rank in the top 5% nationally where parents can choose the options for their kids that best fit them. This speaks volumes about our community to its commitment for educational opportunity, access, and finding the right fit for their son or daughter. As we begin the process of selecting our next superintendent, we have a unique opportunity to start a new chapter on how the district and the charter schools collaborate. In fact, under the short leadership term of Mr. Chapman and his team, it already has. As you know, each of you represent thousands of charter families, families that are part of your district and your constituency. A superintendent should be someone who supports all public school students regardless of public school type and embraces the diversity of the district's educational landscape. With the upcoming school tours for the semifinalists on August the 18th, I encourage you to include the visit to at least one charter school during that time, since we're 1 out of 5 students in Manatee County. This isn't about appearances, it's about perspective. If a finalist hasn't walked a charter school hallway, met a teacher, seen our kids, then how can we expect them to lead with clarity and fairness? Let's make sure that we send the message to these applicants that we are one district, one community, all public school kids. Our next superintendent must be someone who values and engages with all of our schools without exception. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You too. All right, that concludes our public comment for this evening. Going to move to item number 4, which is the consent items. Superintendent Chapman.
I think is it me?
Yeah, to recommend the consent items.
Recommend the approval of the affiliation agreement
Yep.
Yes, sir.
between the School District of Manatee County and the University of South Florida College of Education from July 1st, 2025 through July 1st, 2028, no financial impact.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry. I can do this. Did you already hit it? I'll do second.
So I got a motion. Oh, I'm picking up that. A motion and a second. Went for my mouse and picked up the.
The second button's still lit up. on
Okay.
mine.
Yeah,
There.
it's catching up.
It's, stop
Yeah,
touching.
it's really slow. It's worn out today. So we got a motion and a second on the consent item. So let's go ahead and vote when it pops up on the approval of the consent item. And that passes 5-0. All right, so yet again, I'm going to close out this regular meeting, and I'm going to open up the public hearing. We have 2 items on this public hearing. Public hearing on the proposed changes to the student progression plan for 25-26, and also changes to the code of conduct, student code of conduct for 25-26. We workshopped this. It's been an item, and so this is our final public hearing for these particular plans. Is there anyone out there in public that would like to vote on this item? Please stay seated. I'm kidding. Please come up and comment all you want, well, for 3 minutes
About the student progression plan.
about the progression plan. Seeing nobody, seeing nobody coming up to the progression plan, we good? No, do you don't want to come up and speak? Okay. Progression plan. I'm gonna go ahead and close this regular meeting and open back up the regular meeting. Excuse me, close the public hearing.
Open. the
Open
regular-
back up the regular meeting and move to new business items, non-consent. Superintendent Chapman 7-1, please.
Yep, the approval of the 2025-2026 student progression plan for elementary school, middle school, high school, and K-12 virtual education, no financial impact.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, so we have the motion and a second for the approval of the 2025-2026 student progression plan for elementary, middle, and high school K-12 virtual education. Let's go ahead and vote. And that passes 5-0. Item 7.2
Yep, and I also want to highlight that some of the team that worked on this is here, and just thank them for their hard work to get to this point. It's a year-long process to get here, so
Chap,
thank them for this
Mr.
hard work. Yeah, Mr. Kenny.
Superintendent Chapman, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a point of order for the chair. I believe we have to go into a second public hearing. We have to gavel into another hearing. They're two separate, these two items are two separate public hearings. Like,
That's fine. I have them in the same public hearing.
oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh. No, hang on, because it's a public, we gavelled into the public hearing, we came out of it, we voted.
I thought we're still open.
No, I went into the public meeting. It went out of the public meeting, went into the public hearing, and said item number 1, proposed changes to the student progression plan. Any public comments? No. Went on to number 2, public hearing on the code of conduct. There was no public hearing, so I closed the hearing, reopened the meeting, and we just voted on approval of the student progression plan.
Then it would be appropriate to move to your second item for approval.
Right.
I gotta say, I disagree, because and I'm probably splitting hairs, but just in case, when you announced the public hearing, you said, does anyone have a comment on the student progression plan? And then we closed it and then voted on the progression plan. So now we have to have another public hearing to open it to the public for the.
I didn't certainly mean to say
Code
only
of
student.
Yeah, no, and Attorney Penley's right. I think we can do it either way. But now that
Since
we're
you
off on this
closed it.
path, yeah, we gotta do it this way.
Just to be careful, yeah.
I didn't think I said progression plan. I thought I said both of them, but that's fine.
That's what I heard. I could.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it my fault?
Actually, you
Just to
even
make sure we
said.
got all our
So you want us to get out?
You
of the public
actually
hearing?
even
Just
said, do you
reopen.
want to vote?
Good.
You said to the public, do you want to vote? I'm just kidding. You did.
I told them to come up and make a comment and sit in their chair, but
Just out of abundance of caution, reopen for public comment on the
want me to reopen?
Yes.
code
Okay.
of conduct.
If I may, we're good where we are. All we need to do right now is have another public hearing,
Comment.
gavel in another public hearing.
Right, that's what I was gonna do.
Oh, okay,
Item
I'm
two.
sorry.
And now talk about the conduct.
Correct.
Right.
No one's gonna do anything. We're gonna come back out, and then we're gonna
And then
vote
we're
like
gonna
we were
vote.
about to.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna close this public meeting and reconvene the public hearing to now discuss the proposed changes to the code of conduct, student conduct for 25-26 school year. Is there anyone out there who would like to comment on the 25-26 code of student conduct? Seeing none, I'm going to close this public hearing and reopen the regular meeting to now get a recommendation from the superintendent on 7.2.
The approval of adopting amendments to the Code of Student Conduct for the 2025-2026 school year, no financial impact.
You get to make that one.
I'm not saying another word.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, let's go ahead and vote. On the approval of the Code of Student Conduct for 25-26. That passes 5-0. All right, moving on to new business, no superintendent recommendation. Item number 8.1 is to vote to approve the semifinalists for 2025 superintendent search. We did that earlier today for
workshopped
during
it.
our workshop. So if I can get a motion,
I will. So moved.
Ladies, oh, so, okay, I'll second. It's the only one I've done today. I was feeling kind of left
I was
out.
going to let you.
Yeah.
so we got a motion and a second.
All right.
The item art is up there. Dr. Lori Breslin, Dr. David Adams, Dr. Misty Mathis, and Dr. Louis Solano. I don't see any board members lit up to speak on this particular item.
I guess we said it all during the workshop, but
Yeah.
I will just say, just for the public, there is a clear front runner that got all 5. So I'm just saying, and it was the one that got the most comments and the public feedback as well. So that's all.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the following semifinalists for 2025 superintendent search. And that is approved 5-0. look forward to moving those four on and moving forward in the process.
Next meeting is what?
Item number 9, superintendent remarks.
Just thank you for 11 hours of
Thank you.
great content. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Item number 10, board comments, please no, but I'm just gonna go left to right.
I just have
Yeah.
one.
I'm just kidding.
You had a
Yeah,
nice
no, I feel
day.
like I'm kidding. Go.
No, I just wanted, because we don't respond to public speakers
Sure,
during, so I just wanted to, again, thank our young people for coming to speak today. I understand, and I did speak to them directly, but for other people who are listening, I do understand their request for a public forum, but I would myself choose to have it after we have a new superintendent in place, because some of the things that they have questions about, Mr. Chapman is not going to be our superintendent 6 months from now. And so therefore, there's things that he could respond to, but that might change. And so therefore, I would like to request that we do have a public forum, but that we do it after we have a new superintendent in place who will be able to better answer their questions. And then just, I went to the brand new teacher orientation day, 250 new teachers to our district. It was really awesome. And a shout out to my former student who's now going to be an English teacher at Sugg Middle School, who was there, and that makes me feel really old. But I was excited to see her there, and that was it for me. Thank you.
For me, thank you all for a lot of dialogue and conversation today. And that's all I've got, because I'm worn out.
Okay. Well, I lied. I guess I am going to say something. Just for our, congratulations to our 4 finalists. Our next step in the process is August 12th to pare that group down possibly to who are going to be our candidates that will move forward for public meetings and one-on-ones with board members and so forth. Board members, I think this is a good time to remember, to remind ourselves that this for us has been a long day. But this is the kind of day that our superintendent, our leadership team, our school principals, our teachers at certain times, this is almost every day for them. So yeah, we're up here and we're a little delirious, and but let's just keep that in mind, that this is every day for a lot of our people.
Yeah.
And keep them at the fore as we make decisions and have our deliberations. But it's been a very interesting day. We covered a lot of material, and I appreciate as Mrs. Spray said, the debates and the conversations we've had, and we did cover a lot of ground today. And I just want to express my appreciation to all you guys and to our team, everybody who's here in the room, because we got a lot of work to do, and I'm really excited I think I said this last time, I'm really excited for this first day of school coming up. For some reason, more so than I have been in the previous couple of years, but yeah, so we got a lot of good things ahead, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's it, Chad. Thanks.
Thanks. Shannon?
It was a good day of dialogue, and there was a lot of hard work done by the staff, and there was good information here. And sometimes I was a little insistent today, and I have to think of my mantra, right, which is try and be helpful and try and always be right, and I'm trying to keep that in my mind. And so as we go through this process, I'll keep working on that, but there's always a but. There's a but, but the but is
Stand your ground, too.
there sometimes being a little bit insistent on something and trying to move what you've thought through and really believe is what's best for the school system is a way of being helpful. And then on the other hand, I want to be helpful to Mr. Chapman and the staff to make sure we do have nice schools for our students. So I just make a promise to everybody that I'll keep that in mind. But obviously there are a couple things that I feel passionate about. Number one, really early this morning with the security stuff, we can do better there, and that's a really easy fix. Just checklists. I think helping the guardians use a little better use of their time sometimes would be good. And then if we can figure out a way to lower the cost of schools and still produce a nice product, I think that would be a great way forward too, and what would be best for the school system. And that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to staff for putting everything together today, and also thank you to the all applicants in the superintendent search, and good luck to the 4 going forward as we move forward with that process. I also just want to remind everybody about the Back to School Bash this Saturday, Lecom Park. Games at 6:30, but gates open at 5 o'clock. You do have to scan the QR code, so make sure you do that. It's been posted on our Facebook, things like that. But we're going to have all of our partners there: Boys and Girls Club, the city, the county, MCR, United Ways, backpacks, games, free food with your ticket, hot dog, chips, and a drink. So come on out for the back to school bash at LECOM. Other than that, thanks everybody for a good day today. We are adjourned.
Let's go.